Hey everyone, it's Gabriel here again, and in this video I want to share with you a technique that I've been using to learn and master any complex subject and new topics that I want to understand fast. And I've explained in one of my previous videos on how to read a book a day, and I shared that learning is like a superpower. You may want to watch that video here. And I said it was a superpower because imagine if you are stuck with any problems in life, and maybe you want to understand how to make more money, maybe you want to understand how to invest in cryptocurrency, maybe you want to learn how to be a better parent like me right now, or you just want to have more energy in your life and be more productive at work. Imagine if you have the ability to read about a topic or a subject and find solutions for a problem really fast and master it with just one technique. But before I share this technique with you, I really appreciate the early thumbs up for this video. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. As an entrepreneur, a husband, and a dad, life can get tough and busy at times. So I'm on a journey to master these three areas of my life, and that's business, investing, and productivity. Every week I post video detailing my learning and revealing the marketing hacks I've used to build 7 to 8 figure businesses online, what I'm investing currently, and productivity hacks to help you to do more with less. So if you're into any of that stuff, do consider subscribing to this channel. So let's talk about this one technique. I first learned this technique when I was in school, and that was actually something that I learned that was useful from school. This was actually from an extra class that I took when I was 13 years old, and it was a simple class called Learning How to Learn. I remember that it was held in the library and there was only like 10 people who turned up out of the whole school. But what caught my attention and what made me went to that class was because I realized that most of us spend our whole lifetime learning but never learn how to learn better. I was only 13 years old at the time, but that lesson was simple yet profound. Unfortunately, that class wasn't that popular because only 10 people show up, so they didn't continue the class, and it was such a waste. And what happened was that the teacher actually showed me a chart of the best way to learn. Now, I don't remember everything in that chart, but I do remember that the lowest form of learning was just to read about a topic or subject, and that the best form was to actually teach it. So the technique to learn anything 10 times faster is actually to learn how to teach it. Now, before you dismiss it and say that, I probably heard of it, I want to share that there's actually a deeper truth to this. It is not just about teaching it, but it's to teach it simple enough that others can understand or even a child can understand. I remember I took accounting in my secondary school or high school for some of you. I was failing it so badly and I was scoring F9s for most of the papers in the early years of that module, until I started to pretend I was teaching it. So what I would do is that in order to improve my grades, I would understand about certain principles of accounting, and I would just sit and pretend I was tutoring someone. And because of that, just by pretending to teach someone, I learned faster and my grades actually went from F to Bs. Now, not A's yet, but it was still a big improvement. In fact, it was so big that my teacher saw that. So she started to ask me if I could help other students who were lacking behind. And it turns out, I think 70% of people in the class was failing because they couldn't understand some of the basic fundamentals and basic principles of accounting. So of course I said yes, and I started to actually teach others, and I even stayed back after school to do supplementary class with my teachers for some of my classmates. And it was frustrating initially because no matter how I tried to teach them, they couldn't seem to understand what I was really saying. And this was the moment I realized that it's not good enough to just teach it, but you have to make it simple enough for beginners to understand. There's actually a quote saying that if you cannot explain anything simple enough, you don't really know it. So I started developing concepts to help my classmates understand certain accounting principles better. And eventually I was able to help them go from F to B's and C's. Still a big improvement from F's. Now, what's amazing is because I was teaching them, I understood these principles even better, and I went on to score aces for every accounting papers for the next 2 years. I remember I even scored a 99 over 100 for one of my accounts papers in my preliminary O-level exams, and that 1 mark was because of a careless mistake I made. Now, I didn't know at the time, but there was actually a name to this technique called the Feynman Technique. It was actually from this physicist by the name of Richard Feynman. And Feynman was not known as just a physicist. He was known for his ability to synthesize and explain complex scientific knowledge to simple people. And that was how he taught himself different subjects like advanced algebra, infinite series, and analytic geometry at only age 15. Even Albert Einstein attended one of Feynman's first talk as a graduate student, and Bill Gates called Feynman the greatest teacher I never had. Now, this was a lesson that I took back and applied later on in my life, and I started to use this on everything that I was trying to teach myself, such as business, marketing, investing in stock market, and cryptocurrency, and I did not go to a school to learn it. So here are actually 5 simple steps to break down this technique and how you can actually use it to apply in your life. Step 1, identify the subject or the topic that you want to learn and find any resources you can about it. Usually you can just pick up 3 to 4 books on it and you can watch my video on how to read a book a day. Or today we are blessed with YouTube. There are thousands of people attempting this same technique and they are explaining complex subject by turning it into something simple for people to understand. So if you are trying to learn something, you might want to do a search on YouTube and see what are other people's presentation on it. For example, when I was trying to read up about decentralized finance in cryptocurrency, I actually searched out 10-20 videos on YouTube, and because each video, some of it will even take 1 hour to 2 hours, I actually spent tens or even nearly 100 hours watching different kinds of videos on YouTube to learn about that topic. Now, step 2, write down what you have learned and imagine yourself teaching it to a child. Here's an important thing to take note. Do not write down what you have heard. Write down what you think you have heard or what you've interpreted it to mean. If not, you might fall into the trap of being a parrot and just copying word for word without actually understanding it. I see a lot of people copying word for word about cryptocurrency or blockchain technology without really understanding the whole technology behind. So try to imagine explaining cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to a 5-year-old kid. It will change the way you understand what you think you know. Step 3, that's where you identify the gaps and go back and revisit it. So as I imagine that I was teaching it to a 5-year-old kid, what's going to happen is I'm going to identify some gaps, right? There will be some questions that I will imagine that kid asking me back and I wouldn't be able to know how to answer it. So that's where I identify the gaps of my knowledge and I will go back to the source material and revisit it again. Now here's a bonus. If what you're learning is something you can apply in your life, do it. And even spend some money on it. You can read a book all about push-up you want, but the best way to still learn how to do push-up is just to go and do it. In fact, the Bible actually says that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So when I was reading up on decentralized finance, I didn't just read and then just pretend I know and just teach it like I know. I actually put my money where my mouth is. I actually spent some money that I can afford to lose and I actually went to do it. So for example, if you're learning investing, you want to invest real money, even if it's just investing $100. The $100, even if you lose it or you double it, it's not going to be a life-changing sum for you, but you are going to learn so much more using real money than using some stupid demo money. So once you start doing or applying it, you will identify even more gaps in your knowledge and then you go revisit the fundamentals. And then step 4, organize, rearrange, and then teach it. You can now organize your lesson, structure it so that you can teach it. Now the best way to learn how to teach something is by learning how to tell a story. This is the reason why at the beginning of this video, I didn't just jump into the 5 steps and all that. I actually told you a story of the origin because the story creates value in what you're teaching. Even if you don't have an audience, you can create a video and then post it on YouTube. This is the reason why I made the video, how I made $192 a day in DeFi crypto. Now, if you want to watch the whole video, I'll put a link somewhere here. But the whole point was that I was just compiling my own learning and my own research. I was trying to teach it, whether people are going to watch it on YouTube or not. In fact, that's one of my selfish reasons why I'm doing all these videos. I'm teaching my best stuff for free. It's because I get to learn and become better while getting feedback from you guys. Now, sometimes I even run classes on how to do marketing and scaling business online. And now you know that I'm not doing it just because of money, but because it's a great opportunity for me to teach, relearn, and master the topic and be paid at the same time. So why not? So that's it. Repeat these 4 steps until you master a subject of your choice. So the 4 steps in summary are: number 1, identify the topic and read up on it. Number 2, try to imagine you teaching it to a child. Number 3, identify the gaps and then go back and revisit the fundamentals. And number 4, structure it, organize it, and then teach it to real people, even if it's just a video on YouTube. I hope this video has been of value to you. If it has, I appreciate you hitting the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. Let me know in the comment section what's your biggest takeaway or any questions that you might have. So that's all I have for you today. Bye for now.